quick to everybody that's watching, particularly, I don't even know how to word this. I guess I'm imagining the audience that I'm wanting to connect with is sort of the people that are on their spiritual path, on their awakening. And it's one of those things where Ram Dass says, for those who have had the experience, no explanation is necessary. For those who have not had the experience, no explanation is possible.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like there's a lot of people out there, especially at this time, that are looking for that connection. I mean, not necessarily like a partnership, but just looking for like other people to resonate with, you know. And people are looking for like that community aspect, and people are looking to.
It can definitely feel like you've gotten out of the matrix and you're roaming around on your own.
Right.
Trying to find other people.
What we're going through.
There's like insane amount of loneliness.
Like, am I the only one going through this?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's what everybody goes through.
Am I going crazy, or is
So, I just want to sort of introduce what's even happening right now to the people that are watching. This is my friend Matt that I just met the other day, and just, you know, soul brothers and that kind of thing happens. You end up meeting people like that. That's another thing that I want to do on this YouTube channel. Whenever you meet people that are on the spiritual path, there's just awesome stuff that comes up. Really cool stuff, inspirational stuff to talk about. And I think that's, you know, what I'm really trying to like capture on these YouTube channels. Ever since I started recording these videos, it's been a struggle learning how to be authentic behind a camera.
Yeah.
So, but there was this one day where I was sitting in this room with Ryan and Cody. And Cody was massaging me, and we just turned the camera on. I never uploaded this footage, but we kept trying to record these videos, and I was like, fuck, it's like not me.
Right.
When I turned the camera on, it's not me anymore. And I was like, how do I do this? And then I just started to talk about how I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
And that was like...
While the camera was rolling, and I was like, that's the most real thing that I can talk about right now.
Dude, heck yeah.
So funny. And now I'm trying to like really imagine that like I'm here with you and we're having a conversation.
Just chilling.
And I'm holding space, you know, in that, but also that there are, you know, the other people watching that we're kind of having this style, you know, we're having the conversation with and connecting with.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you meet a new person and you go into conversation, as soon as someone runs out of something to say, your eyes start darting and you're like, oh shit, and whatever. Shit. And what I realize is we value who we are in a sense of how much we know. And then it's like, oh fuck, I don't have anything else to justify my existence.
Right.
Almost. So what I realized is like, okay, what if we, instead of having confidence in some sort of facade or character that we believe we are in the world, what if our confidence resides in simply our being?
Just our presence.
And in that point, I was practicing this with a couple of my housemates the other day, and it was really interesting because these moments go by, and you know, sometimes you're all sitting in the room and 20 minutes will go by when no one says anything. And you're all looking at each other, everybody's totally present, and nobody has a sense of like...
He's not talking, what's wrong with him?
Exactly. Yeah. We're all just watching...
And respecting and just being...
Yeah, and nobody's...
That's beautiful.
No one's uncomfortable that there's nothing to say.
Yeah, wow.
And it's like, dude, that's the kind of space we should all be holding for each other. So that's been my practice.
Beautiful. Wow.
So, yeah.
Something very new to a new perspective to adapt. That's beautiful. Whenever I'm feeling uneasy, sometimes I'll just sit down and just be with myself. And like there might be a struggle. I'm like, I gotta get up right now. But just sit through it, listen to it, really figure it out, you know. And the more I feel like I'm present with just like myself and like that resistance, whatever it is, I feel like we can get to the bottom of it if we just try to tune into it, you know. We just gotta give it that space, you know.
Oh. I might grab a Kavos that I have easy to read. interesting. I barely ever play in that key.
Oh yeah.
So I was kind of exploring.
That was beautiful, man. Yeah, the way it would just float. I feel like both instruments were kind of like dancing, like the little helix of like a DNA, like creating this like world of just.
You have great rhythm, and that's the foundation for great music. Is having great rhythm.
It's good to have.
You know, that's how you have this. Your foundation is in time, with the heartbeat.
Feel it, dude.
And then within that, you end up creating some sort of structure, some sort of story.
Yeah, you're right. Whenever I say, hey, do you play, do you have rhythm? Oh, I don't have rhythm. Hey, well, your heart beats, like, you breathe, like, we all do have rhythm, like, it's just a matter of, like, almost tapping into it,
It's all about the listening, though.
Yeah.
Everything's about
like
that. I've found that is true with the most important thing with art. I've heard every great artist that I've ever known, when interviewed or whatever, comes to that point. And I think it's the same way with life too.
Being able to listen, pay attention to the synchronicities and the signs that are happening all around us every day, all day. Being aware, being present.
It's like it's like I was talking about earlier, with like surfing and being in the water. That kind of listening too, where you're listening with your whole body.
Yeah.
And music didn't make sense to me until I've told this to every person that I've met for the longest time. But I heard Ben Harper on the radio one time. Like, I played music for like 10 years before I was able to write a song, or really I just was so into the technical aspects of things and all this stuff. But I heard Ben Harper on the radio, and they asked him what his process was like for writing music, and he said, "I'm not so much sitting down to write music as it's being written as I'm living it."
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
beautiful,
like,
yeah.
that is...
Huh. Like he's just experiencing
That,
it, interpreting it.
hearing him say that changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Because it was like, all I wanted to do, I knew all I wanted to do was write music. And I was like, okay, well, I have to live a real life then.
Right.
I have to live, like, that is the prerequisite of it, then so be it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just experiencing.
I tried to...
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, there was a lot of times where just through struggle or pushing myself too hard, I thought that I was going to stop playing music or whatever, but there's never been more than a week or two that I end up, like, just falling in love with the instrument.
Right.
And after a while, I just accepted, like, I'm going to be playing music or whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I can totally resonate with that, man. If I don't play music, I'll get just, my things will get dysfunctional. I'm like, okay, I gotta pick something up and play it, and then once you can release, it's like a build up and release, essentially. Like, what's happening. Like you were saying earlier about how songs, different parts of your life were different creations of different songs. And sometimes, like a year later, you'll go back to an old song, like, I don't really resonate with that, but in a sense, like, that was when you were working through something, you're telling a story, some sort of story with that song, and somebody might be able to resonate and relate to that story at that time in their life, so...
Makes me think
put
of...
it out there.
I don't know if you know who Logic is, the rapper, but he released this really famous song about suicide. The name of the song is actually the suicide hotline number.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it reached millions and millions of people, and he won awards for it and all this stuff. But somebody asked him what it was like performing it. And he said that it was an interesting thing because every time he performs it, it brought him down, but it brought everybody else up that was in that space.
Right.
So it's almost like a sacrifice or something.
Yeah, wow.
It's so crazy how that is. And I've definitely changed my perspective on music too. I'm always trying to figure out how to write more and more lyrical content like Trevor Hall, I feel like. I don't know if you listen to him.
I listen to Trevor Hall on occasion. I do respect him very much as a musician and a lyricist, and he does sing about just what's happening, what he's feeling. He's very intimate with his words and his music.
And it's very spiritual, and there's a lot of nature in there, and there's a lot of positivity in there. There's a lot of wisdom in singing, and not sort of a fatist aspect. And he doesn't just have a bunch of songs about being in a relationship or something.
Right.
Which is what most songs are about.
Right.
And I also love John Mayer. John Mayer is also one of my favorite artists. And that's most of his songs. So it's like, it just is what it is.
Right, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I agree though. I definitely like hearing about just life in general. It's the ups and downs, that's relatable, you know, there's vulnerability in that. I was talking to my buddy on the phone earlier today, just saying about, you know, it's really healthy to be like vulnerable and like it just express things, like, because then it shows people that it's also okay for them to be vulnerable back.
Yeah.
And like that's really important because like we're living where things are like building up to the point where like we're not expressing things, we're not communicating things, and like all we gotta do is just communicate these things to each other, and you know, like
that's huge. And I think it kind of almost makes people feel like it gives them the permission to feel that way or something. There was something like I was gonna say about that and I totally lost it. And now I'm just sitting in that feeling of like, well, maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't.
Yeah. Like, alright.
That's just how it is sometimes.
It'll come back when it's, yeah. I always feel like the more you pull at it, the more it slips away.
Yeah, well, I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day. Funny how these things work. But, you know, it was just about whenever that I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm learning to let go of when thoughts leave, just let them go.
Yeah.
You know, just be present, because what I ended up realizing is in your attempt to grasp your train of thought that has left, you're not being fully present with the other person speaking.
Right.
Which means you're missing their blessing for you. I don't know if you've read Celestine Prophecy, but
I've been
8th or 9th
like
insight.
10 times.
And
Should probably read
the other thing is you're ruining the moment for yourself because you're missing all of the new things that are coming up, because you're all of the other things that are happening in the present moment are just going right by you because you're over. Oh, what was that thing?
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting how when we think of things, we even like look at a different direction. We're like, what was that? We're like looking over in the corner or something.
Yeah,
like,
it's actually, it has left our minds and is over there on the other side of the room. Like,
I never realized that before.
You know, that just makes me think of we're still dealing with this 3-dimensional reality where there's up and down and left and right and all this stuff. Yeah.